Do you ever hate how much time you spend on your phone? Ever get overwhelmed by everyday life? I know I certainly do. And I've selected books that I think will allow me to feel the escape from that, to get me off my phone. And I want to have atmospheres that keep me on the edge of my seat and wanting to read one more chapter, or to help calm and relax me after a really long day. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning fan, welcome back. My name is Jocelyn, and I'm here to share my guide to cozy reading sessions to help you reach your reading goals, as well as how I'm going about to meet my own. Let's get into it. For me, when I read, I have to have a specific setup to have a certain vibe, feeling, sense of calm. And a lot of times that's a comfortable chair or in bed with a blanket and a favorite drink along with my book. I talked about what I do when I read in my book journal video and how it helps me dive into the books I read. Sometimes the music I listen to is really just to enhance my focus in a noisy room. Other times I listen to it to help with the story, to really feel what's happening. And I feel like that's a really good way to help boost my motivation to read, as well as just keep me in the moment and wanting to keep reading. Alongside my book and blanket, I always have my favorite drinks. Most of the time it's water, because we all need water. I have a few favorites besides water, and I want to share them. First favorite is my homemade mocha that I make at home with really only things that are in my fridge, and I absolutely love it. It's just a nice drink to have next to me when I'm reading my book. I also like having a cup of tea when it's really warm out. I like having iced tea, and then when it's really cold or it's winter, I like having a nice cup of green tea with honey. I really enjoy that. And if I'm out and about before my reading sessions, I have a couple places that I like to get drinks from. For example, I get the rose gold dirty soda from Ziggy's. If I need more of an energy boost, I go to 7 Brew to get the 7 energies with strawberry and orange. And I want to find more cute little coffee shops because I think they're so cute and I love reading at them. So I want to try new things and support those smaller coffee shops. And if you have any recommendations, please leave them below down in the comments. Now that we've kind of checked off the to-do list for how to get ready to start a calm, relaxing reading session, let's dive into the 2026 reading list for the summer. I prefer a large mix of books. I prefer most of the time to read contemporary romance, fantasy, mystery, thriller, historical fiction, and science fiction. I'm hoping to keep a wide variety for the summer reading list because not everyone likes romance or high fantasy. Maybe they prefer science fiction or horror. I have a lot I want to read this year, and I have so many books on my shelf that I haven't even touched. I've got them and they've just been sitting there. My goal is to read at least 15 by the end of this year without facing any kind of burnout. I also aspire to replace doom scrolling and to kind of help increase my attention span that it was before social media came around and you just get sucked into your phone for hours on end. So today I'm going to share with you 10 books that are on my reading list to finish in summer of 2026. I always hope to read more, but there is a reality that life gets busy, especially with school coming up, but I hope to finish at least maybe 4 or 5 of these before the school year actually starts, and I'm always going to strive for more than that. I prefer. The first book I have on my summer 2026 reading list is Mosquito Man by Jeremy Bates. And I got this series as a Christmas gift a couple years ago, and I just haven't gotten around to it. Basically, it's a small town that is shaken with a mysterious figure known as Mosquito Man, who begins to target those who've escaped justice. As fear spreads and secrets surface, the line between vigilante and villain blurs, leaving the community to question who they can trust. I've been wanting to read more horror and mystery since I tend to like that genre in movies and television. And I think this would be a good book to keep me on the edge of my seat. What's going to happen next? Who is this Mosquito Man, And then second on my list, I have Empire of the Damned by J. Kristoff. It's a second book of a trilogy called Empire of the Vampire, and basically it's a high fantasy. And honestly, this book I refuse to read on my Kindle because in the print, I have all 3. There are beautiful illustrations throughout the book, and I also love admiring the artwork, and it helps me really get involved in the world. It also has a really pretty map, and the storytelling creates a wonderful landscape to escape into when reading. And basically, it's in a world of blood, betrayal, and forbidden alliances. A young warrior is forced deeper into a deeper political game. As loyalties fracture and ancient powers stir, he must decide whether to protect the empire or to burn it down. I think that is drawing within itself because it's asking the question of, what do I do? I'm stuck here, but what's next? So I think as a continuation to the series, I think it'll be really fun and interesting to hop back into that world because honestly, I've been dying for that book to come out, as well as the third, which recently came out. So I'm excited to read the rest of the series. Next on the list, I have the short story collection titled Gleanings by Neal, Shusterman, and a couple other authors. It's set in the world of Scythe. This collection reveals untold stories from the edge of a society where death has been conquered. Each tale uncovers hidden corners of Scythedom, exploring the people, choices, and consequences that shape a world built on control. I'm curious to see these kind of stories in the book because I think the series was really, really good and I highly recommend it. I'm also curious to see how this book falls into that world, especially with multiple authors collaborating. I think that's always interesting to see how their ideas bounce off each other. It's also just how do you have a series and then write a bunch of short stories that are supposedly within the original series, and it's always interesting to see how that feeds into it. This next book on my 2026 reading list is actually really special to me because it was written by one of my closest friends' dads, and it's called A Mentor's Legacy. I actually have a copy right here. I'm so excited to read it. Basically, it's about a son who inherits a groundbreaking project, which is basically AI called Analogs. And as a powerful force closes in, Martin has to protect his father's work and uncover the truth behind the technology that could change everything. I love reading sci-fis about ambition, identity, and what the future that may be left behind. So I think it's really interesting, and I think it's super relevant with how AI is in our world. And if you're curious about it, I'll leave it down in the description. Literally no pressure at all, but I highly recommend checking it out. The next book on the list is To Kill a Mockingbird. It takes place in a small southern town. Young Scout Finch witnesses the harsh realities of prejudice when her father defends an innocent man. Through her eyes, the story explores courage, compassion, and the fight for justice in a deeply divided community. This book has always been on my reading list since middle school. I have always gotten the, why haven't you read this? You should have read this when you were a kid. To be honest, I haven't gotten around to it, and I think it's about time. I will actually check off one of my bingo spots, which is really fun, and I think really cool that it's like I'm finally going to read it. But I'm also like curious to see why it's a banned book now. So I'm really excited to read that one. Next we have on our reading list is The Heartbreak Hotel. And basically it's about a girl reeling from a breakup that takes a job at a quirky, nostalgia-soaked hotel where every guest has a story and every room holds a secret. As she navigates new friendships, old wounds, and an unexpected romance, she learns that healing rarely looks the way that you would expect. I personally chose this book because it takes place in Colorado, where I live. I've grown up here, and I was recommended this book by a lot of my peers, and I wanted to read something that had that familiarity in the setting and see someone else's perspective of the world that I get to see every day. The next book is Shot in the Dark. It's when a determined investigator takes on a case tied to a dangerous criminal network. She's pulled into a world of secrets, lies, and high-stakes survival. Every clue brings her closer to the truth and deeper into the shadows. This book, from what I've heard, is meant for supernatural fans. This honestly caught my attention after the unfortunate news of Supernatural leaving Netflix. And I'm genuinely excited to see how the author takes a spin on the world of Supernatural, or how she's crafted it into her own world. I think that's a really fun concept to mess with. Next up, we have One Dark Window. It's about a girl hiding from a forbidden magic inside her mind and is drawn to a dangerous quest to break a centuries-old curse. As alliances form and monsters lurk in the mist, she must confront the darkness within and the kingdom that fears her power. I have seen this book all over Book Talk, and I've been wanting to dabble in some of those recommendations to see if they're really worth reading. I'm excited to see the structure of the magic system as well as the world it thrives in. I'm curious to see what that darkness, those monsters, and the overall, what is their magic? So I'm excited to hop into that. Then we have the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Faeries. It's about a young folklorist who discovers that the fae she's been studying are far more real and far more dangerous than she had ever imagined. When a mysterious disappearance pulls her into their world, she must navigate ancient rules, tricky bargains, and creatures who never forget a debt. I found this book in Old Town Fort Collins a couple years back, but school's gotten so chaotic that I hadn't gotten around to reading it. I've also heard that this is more of a cozy fantasy, and it low-key draws me in for a comfortable and cozy read. But it also is like, is it actually cozy if she's dealing with all this, like, mystery and bargains and all of this unfamiliar stuff that she's just now experiencing? So I'm curious to see how cozy fantasy that actually is. And finally, on the 2026 summer reading list, I have Not Another Love Song. It's about a hopeless romantic with big dreams who finds her life turned upside down when she crosses paths with the new boy in town, someone who challenges her expectations and her heart. Between music, mishaps, and messy feelings, she learns that love rarely follows the script. As a musician, I will always see if I can find books about that music. This one immediately caught my attention because of the familiarity of the instrument I saw on the cover. The cello just called out to me, and I read the back and I was instantly interested in how this romance story will go when music truly is like the main focus. I think it's really interesting that that's what it's about, is about music. So I think that one will be a really fun read. So that's my 2026 summer reading list. I know that trying to fit 10 books into a summer can seem challenging, but I think that's the fun of it. I want to push myself to limit my scrolling time with a book instead. I want to be able to get up in the morning and open a book, rather than turning to the bright screen that really just hurts my eyes. I want to relax at the end of a long day by diving into a new world and a story without feeling the need to check my Instagram to ultimately get sucked into watching reels for hours and hours. I want to use my book journal to its fullest and prevent it from becoming just another notebook in my drawer. I want to take the steps to improve myself by taking the time to not only get off my phone, but to also strengthen a hobby and a passion for reading. If you enjoyed this video, please stick around for the vibes by liking and subscribing down below. If you have copy shop, book recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. I really enjoyed making this video. Please stick around for the vibes. I will see you again next week. But for now, that's it. Bye!